Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for looking at my station. Today, I'm going to be talking about angels. I hope you enjoy this video. Now, before I go ahead and talk about angels, I kind of have to go ahead and talk about what we have here called the human experience. And this human experience is based on us being on a planet called Earth. Now, why is that important? Because to have an experience on Earth, we got to understand that we need the elementals not only for our survivals, but also to maintain this existence or this experience that we have. So there's basically 5 elementals, and I'm going to go a quick overview so you guys can see what I'm talking about. You have Earth, which is connected to the foundation, the Melekut level on the Kabbalah tree of life, which basically says, this is where we need to have an experience. This is where we build our house. This is where we walk around. This is the grounding force of our experience. Then you have the wind. What is the wind? The wind is the air, the oxygen. The oxygen we inhale to energize our organs to make sure that we're living and breathing and having a healthy life. And what is the oxygen connected to? The oxygen is connected to the trees, which in essence is connected to Earth. And then you have fire. Now when you take wood, you make friction and you put some air or wind, you have fire, and fire keeps us warm. It gives us energy. It gives us passion. And of course, if you follow my train of thought, is connected to Earth. And then you have water. Our body is 80% water, and by the 80% of water, Earth is 80% water, and we need water to survive. If we don't drink water, we will not survive. And we drink water that's alkaline to keep our cells very vitalized and healthy, and make sure all the fluids and all our oxygens and bloodstream is flushing with waters. If we don't have it, like the other elements, we don't survive. What is water connected to? Water is connected to Mother Earth, the oceans, the rivers, the wells. Now, understanding this, you understand that Earth and Mother Earth and the elements are connected to each other, which in essence is connected back to us. Now, why am I saying this? Well, I'm saying this because just like us, the gods also have to use these elements because they're the way to have an experience on this realm. So what you have is you have Earth, which is an evolutionary planet, so that the gods, you can say, that created this Earth were called the Neterus. Now with the gods or the Neterus wanting to come down here and interface with us on this Earth, how would they do it? Well, they would have to go through the elements. So basically now you have the Neterus, which are based up in 4 tribes. You have the Neteru tribe of Earth, which is connected to Kemet beings like Bes or like Osiris. For example, Osiris is depicted as being green because he is more connected to the plants, which is connected to Earth. He would take photosynthesis from the sun, which is Ra, and therefore he was able to re-energize himself and be a breatharian. And then you have the Neterus, who came in the element of wind, which are the angels. They have wings, they fly on the surface, and they're connected to the bird tribe. That's where you have the angels. And then you have Ra, or the fire tribe, or you have the element fires of the Neterus, which I like to consider Ra, the sun, the heat. And then you have the Neteru tribes who are connected to the water, the Ogdoads, the Nomos. So those are my quick examples of how the gods would come down, but then they would split themselves into 4 different tribes. Now, out of the 4 tribes, 3 of them basically cut the connections with the mortal world, which are the humans, and 1 of them kept that connection, and that one was the angel, the bird tribe. And because it did that, they became very, very, very powerful amongst the ultraviolets, and they became very, very humble and compassionate because they still reached out to the mortals or the humans on this world. Now, when you have the politics of the gods, the ultraviolets, they always know as the angels as being the most powerful of all of them. And them being most powerful and having a connection to us, once we have or interact with them, we can have access to energy where they can help us because they're very, very powerful, especially on this realm. So what happened was you have the whole science of the timeline, then you have when Kemet, or you can say Egypt, came to a fall. And what happened was the angels like to keep their currents, and basically a current is a spiritual the spiritual energy alive through going through the Hebrews. Now with the Hebrews, the elites of the Hebrews was able to access this energy by understanding the elementals, the Mother Earth connection, and the tree of life. So by having that, they had this connection through the elites. But what happened was you had the Satanists who saw this, and they didn't like this. So they had to try to cut the connections to the gods or to the evolution. So then how did they do this? They basically manipulated the science. And what they did is they did it in two ways. The first way is they kind of ignored the hierarchy of the gods and implemented it in their science, the religious science. And what they said is, you can talk to the gods directly. You don't need these hierarchies. You don't need these angels. You don't need these messengers. You can pray directly to the gods. And by doing that, they kind of cut the connections to the gods, because what you need to do is you had the mortals who would talk to the angels, who would then talk to the gods. I like to use the analogy of, let's just say you are a citizen. Would you be able to talk to the president, although he represents you? Not necessarily. You have to go ahead and talk to your local senator, who will then talk to the congressman, who will then talk to the presidents on your behalf. And now what they did is said, no, the citizen can, here's the email, you can just go ahead and send an email, it'll go directly to the president. Well, the president's not getting it. And if you think of it that way, that means every single person can talk instantaneously. Now, the gods are very powerful. However, that wasn't the case. There's a hierarchy. And they took out the hierarchy and just made us not follow the patterns that was originally set up. Another thing they did is they took out the nature part of the science. So therefore, when we think of angels, we don't think of them as air elementals, or we don't think of their connection to nature. And by doing that, it made us very more materialistic and kind of lost in our understanding. And by doing that, they kind of made us get lost our connection to the angels or the bird tribe from the Neterus on this dimension. So the question is, how do we build that connection again? Well, the way you build that connection again is you kind of have to understand animalism, because the angels are connected to the bird totem. You have to understand that the bird spirits are very powerful and it's connected to them. So in essence, you could say the birds is angels in their lowest form on this dimension. But once you connect to the spirits, fuse with the wind elements, what they're connecting to, and the tree of life, you can understand and fuse the energies together and build that connection again. So we have to understand how to fuse shamanism, the bird spirits, wind magic, and the tree of life. The tree of life is basically the sacred geometry or the pattern grid that we can connect to, that can connect us to the gods. And that's going to take a little bit more videos for me to explain, but that's basically how it is. We got to go ahead and reverse what they took away from us. Now the Archangel Michaels, you have Michael, you have Raphael, you have Gabriel, and you have Lucifer. Now the archangels are very powerful and they're very high. However, just like the gods, there's a hierarchy. So yes, we can speak to Archangel Michaels and Lucifer and Gabriel. But however, there is a hierarchy above them, which Enoch is on. Now, if you understand the tree of life, you can say the Archangel Michael's on Gabriel and Chesed, where Enoch is more on the Kepler level. And we can build a connection to them, but we have to evolve to that level. We kind of have to build our energy up. We got to balance the elements in our body, and then build our energy and keep our aura closed and sealed from parasitic energy so we can evolve. So those angels are very powerful, but there's a hierarchy. And another thing that a lot of people get confused is they get their guardian angel as their higher self confused. Your guardian angel and your higher selves are two completely different types of beings. Your guardian angels is there as a guardian, while your higher self is special onto you. So I know a lot of people get those confused. But as you can tell, there's a lot of stuff to cover with with the angels. I mean, in regards to sacred geometry, connected to Chokmok on the sacred, there's the hierarchies, how to get these sciences initiated. There's a lot of stuff to cover, but that's a quick overview of the science of angels, connecting to elementals of the Neterus and coming down, being very powerful, the currents transferring over to the Hebrews, which was systematically dismantled by the Satanists by taking away the hierarchy and also taking away the connection to nature where they originated from, and how we have to kind of fuse stuff together to build that together, which is still possible. Anything is still possible as long as we put our will and our mind to it. So that's my quick video. I hope you like it, and I will see you in my next.